So now that I'm no longer bloody tired as sin, as you may have seen in the tournament report, I can actually put this deck list video together and not sound like all drony and shit. So this is the deck that I wanted to play in the first place. This is the list, pretty much the list that I had. I did make a tweak or two of it a couple of days before the event, and thankfully it worked out pretty well. I mean, I made the top 4, so I'm quite content with the performance of the deck. There are a couple of changes that I would definitely like to make to it, but I'll go through those as I go through the list, I suppose. So, anyways, still rolling the 3 Deneb. I did actually, one of my friends actually was running Diddy Crow in his side deck, so in theory the decision to run more than one was definitely validated. That being said though, there was one game where I opened 2 Deneb, and it was a bit weird. I think it might have been against Raccoons. It didn't really affect me that much, but I feel like in theory, if I'm going up against a harder matchup like Shadows, I don't really want to see that. So I might, for next week, give Deneb a crack at 2. We'll see what happens. But I'll sort that out once that time comes around, and if I do decide to run Satellarknight for that event. Then we have the triple Altair. Altair does pretty much everything you expect him to do. He's Wolfbark. He's a Wolfie. He does all of the plays that you pretty much want to do in this deck. Then Uncle. I will continue to preach that if you do not open Deneb, you want to open Uncle to get Deneb engraved. Make sure it's live so that your Altairs can get it back and just continue to do plays. And I like having beat sticks, so 18 is pretty nice to have. I think there's a 19 beat stick coming out in the next set, but I remember his effect being kind of crummy. Vega, this one I saw a couple of times. Obviously it's one of those things where I liked to add it to the hand, or if I opened it, it would be relatively fine. I think I had one game where I opened with this and Awesome, which was relatively nice. I could just get a quick 1000 burn in and then stack for something like Gandiva, and so to prevent their level 4s and shit from doing their stuff. Like it'd be particularly good in the mirror match, I think. If I do cut the Deneb to 2, I might bump that up to 2 just to see how that works. And then the one Awesome, putting in the burn damage, and then the one Honest. This thing, honestly, that's one of the negative things about having 3 D Prison over just the 2 and the Honest. D Prison always targets. Without this, I'd have probably got my ass kicked by that Yazi in the Raccoon matchup. So yes, it is definitely a justified choice. He ain't coming out. Spells, triple Rotor, triple Hoban, double Duality, pretty standard. This hadn't changed at all, I think. I can't remember if I was actually running the Dualities in the previous build. I'm pretty sure I was, but yeah. What? Okay, so that's sorted out. Then we've got 2 MST. Once again, would like to play a 3rd, but you know, just lack of room is the problem there. Book of Moon, Soul Charge, Raigeki. I don't think I need to say too much about the spell lineup. It's about as generic as it gets for Satellarknights. Just try to do what don't do what I do. If you're going, you know you're going at a time, be sure to side out the bloody upstarts. Don't be an idiot like me, because that's what cost me my freaking top 4 match. Traps, triple Alpha. I didn't see this anywhere near as much as I would have liked to. It was weird. I'd see it against some of the more like casual matchups, but against some of the bigger matchups, it just decided not to show up. I did see it a couple of times against Clifford, but it just got wiretap every time, which was annoying. Then we have triple Call of the Haunted, bump this up to 3, just so I could see it a lot more often and just keep the plays going as much as I possibly can. It's just all about maintaining the board control. 2 Breakthrough Skill. This was obviously going in because I missed this quite a lot last week, and it's the weakness that got exploited in the top 8 round that week. 2D prison. Could have easily been 3D prison and 3D prison over the Honest, but you know, Honest actually did prove himself. But I did actually run a Mirror Force, which I did not see that much. I would like to take it out, but I have not actually given it that much of a friggin' whirl, because I didn't really see that much in terms of decks that this could, like I didn't see anything in relation to Vanities. Nobody I played against had Vanities, so that's pretty much the whole reason the Mirror Force is in there. And I had Rogue, I mean there were obviously Rogue matchups, but I didn't see it in those Rogue matchups, so I'd like to keep it in just to see how, like, what upon execution how it would do, but see what happens. We've got Bottomless, main deck Soul Drain, which would be nice if I actually saw it. Warning and Compulse. So yeah, I think if my memory's telling me now that every time I saw Soul Drain, it was against freaking decks that I did not want to see it against, that I was planning on, that I was just going to slide it out for anyway, which was depressing. Because I never saw it against a Shadow matchup, so it was kind of horrid. Anyways, extra deck, Deltaurus Traveur. It is what it is. Traveur does so much shit. It's actually a shame that I didn't get that off, because that would have won me the Yang Zing matchup. It would have easily done so. Would not have mattered if I had gotten the Hobans, but I just could not get the Traveur off. Skill Drain's a thing. Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon. Arguably the winner, arguably the MVP against Clifford. I will always preach the usefulness of that card. Exciton, saw this once, got Blackhorned. Emerald, I got this up a couple of times. He was quite nice to have. Honorak, saw him once. Omega, I did not actually see. I considered using him a fair few times, but I just opted for other choices at that stage. Dynamo, I actually used this to get over a Canned Gorgon, because despite the fact that Canned Gorgon redirects targets, it has to redirect to an appropriate target. Canned Gorgon is the only appropriate target at the time I used this, so he had nothing to do. Ged Diva, I made this 3300 against the Lightsworn matchup by using 80 with it. It was pretty damn busted. It just basically said no to Lumina plays. Black Ship, I think I saw this once, maybe. Castell. Cowboy. Dweller, I saw this against the thingy matchup, the Yang Zings. Ragnar Zero, this would have been there for the Clifford matchup, except for the fact that he had skill drain up about 95% of the time throughout the course of the match, which really sucked. And then number 80, which I saw against the Lightsworn. So my extra deck got a fair bit of use, which I am quite happy with. Then we move on to the side deck. Still sticking with the Grand Mole. Grand Mole pushed a little bit in Game 3, and it would have actually gone really well to winning the game for me and that top 4 match if once again I had not used the friggin' Hobans. Third MST. System Down, which I did not see. D-Fissure I did see a couple of times. Spell Shattering Arrow, I did see this once and got over a scout with it, made him minus 1300, but I believe that was the game I lost in that Clifford matchup. One Retort Tack. This thing is basically for the mirror match. You just flip this when they use an alpha, and it negates that, and you get a copy of your own back. I mean, you have to have a copy in your graveyard in order to actually negate in the first place. And that makes your opponent essentially go minus... It makes your opponent go -2, but then it's amplified even more by the fact that this then becomes just a 1-for-1. So that's nice to have. It's, in theory, pretty decent against other matchups, but it's especially useful against the mirror, because then you can... It's then another answer to alpha. Then macro, this thing's coming out because... Like, if I had the option to use 2D Fissure, I would use 2D Fissure. Macro is disgusting. It really is. That's coming straight out. I'll probably put a second Retort in there, because I would really love to give Retort a good solid go. 2 wiretap. If I decide to take the Mirror Force out, I will probably main deck one of these. 2 Chain Discs. Sided this in against, I think... I know I sided it against Raccoons. And I want to say that I sided it in against... What else? I think I sided it in against Yangzing. Yeah, I sided it in against Yangzing, so as soon as they dropped the Jiaotu, I just hit it with that. And then triple Shadow Mirror, which I should have sided 2 of these in against Yangzing matchup in case he got the first turn Jiaotu, because I think I was I going first? Yeah, I was going first. So if I open with Shadow Mirror, I'd have just flipped that. I'd have just had that, and if he dropped the Jiaotu, I would just wait till he discarded for cost, and then just done that. But I was a dipshit, so I deserve to lose that because I am a dipshit. So that's the Satellar list that I played. Definitely looks a lot better on paper, and obviously did a lot better in theory. I mean, obviously the record could have been a bit better. In that I only just scraped into top 8, but I put some pretty good work in those top 8 matchups. So I'm overall pretty happy with the deck's performance on Sunday. So that's it for this list. See you for whatever it is that I do next.